without further ado, the next challenge for a chair is to take what could be a career-limiting opportunity by introducing his boss. But Jim Knight has, for me, been quite a significant minister in terms of the way in which technology in this country has developed. One of the challenges that anybody has in this, whether it's a senior official, whether it's a member of the public, whether it's an MP, whether it's a minister, is where are they themselves in their understanding of technology? How do they actually know what it is that we're talking about when we talk about digital natives or digital immigrants or where young people might be? And I have to tell you that Jim is one of those who really understands these issues. He understands what the problems are, he recognizes what the potential is of this, and so it's a great delight, really is a great delight to introduce Minister of State for Schools, Jim Knight.
Well, thank you, Doug, for that generous introduction. You know, one of the problems with technology is that there's never anywhere to put your paper on a podium these days. But I just have to abandon the paper, I suppose. It's a real joy to come along to your conference. I've been looking forward to it. It's the first time I've come and sat amongst an audience and every single one of them are hanging on to their device. Maybe I should just call them comfort objects from now on. Yes, it's certainly a subject that I do find very interesting and can get quite boring about. I hope not so today. It's become a cliche to say that we live in a fast-paced world, but even the most ardent technophiles like me can still be surprised by the daily advancements and dazzling developments. And whilst it's amazing inventions that capture the imagination and hit the headlines, it's the way the technology itself is used and applied in imaginative ways which has the potential to change lives. The new iPod stethoscope, now this is one I hadn't heard about until my speechwriter came up with it, for example, can be used to train doctors in recognizing specific arrhythmia or to record heartbeats for diagnostic purposes. It brings a whole new meaning to the song Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. As an early adopter, I regularly frustrate my diary secretary by syncing my phone with his computer while he struggles to work out where these extra meetings are coming from, or annoy our IT department by wondering why the brand new interactive whiteboard in my office still won't talk to my phone. And last night, I, as with the last few nights, got extremely frustrated that the department still doesn't give me the permission to disable something called Night Watchman, which automatically turns my computer off at 11 o'clock at night to save energy. I'm trying to fix that one. But I do know that overall, our daily lives have been transformed for the better by technology, and for that I am grateful. I'm also grateful, incidentally, that it would seem that even the House of Commons, I mean, this is extraordinary, might allow us to take handheld devices into the House of Commons and use them. You know, at the moment you get thrown out, but that really will be an advance for mankind. I think that nowhere, though, has the digital revolution been seen more clearly than in our classrooms. Schools have been revolutionized by the rapid changes in technology. Pupils voting on answers in class with interactive pods, teachers holding revision forums online, schools texting parents when children are absent. And 20 years ago, a pupil could go through their entire education, and certainly it was my experience, without using a single computer. But if that were possible today, we'd be failing to prepare students effectively for the technology-driven world that they will live and work in. ICT and computers have become an integral part of how teachers teach and how pupils learn. Today, we have the technology to give every pupil their own online space for schoolwork. Introducing learning platforms, enabling children and parents to log on and to access their schoolwork and resources for their learning. They can download or store homework and get feedback from teachers wherever they want, whenever they want. And the next challenge, which Vector is leading for us, is to equip all schools to offer what we call real-time reporting to parents. Far from the old once a term, or even if it's the legal minimum once a year sort of could do better report, parents should be able to receive regular updates on their child's progress by email, by text, even video conferencing. It means that teachers can check individual progress more easily. It cuts down on time spent chasing pupils' homework and coursework, makes it easier to share work with other staff, and crucially, makes it easier for parents to become more engaged in their own child's education. By next April, all local authorities will enable every pupil in every school to access a personal online learning space. We estimate that by the start of the next academic year, around 9 out of 10 secondary schools and a half of primary schools will already have the system in place. Of course, young people themselves are both among the main beneficiaries and leading innovators in the use of technology. More than 3/4 of 9 to 19-year-olds have internet access. 3/5 of 13 to 17-year-olds have personal profiles on social networking sites. I assume many of you are updating your Facebook as we speak. Jim is speaking to the Handheld Learning Conference. Today's young people are growing up in an incredibly multimedia-rich world. We need to make sure we're making the most of these fantastic opportunities to educate and communicate with them. And we also need, as Stephen Crown says, a coordinated approach to education about possible dangers on the web. The safe and secure use of these technologies has, of course, got to be paramount. And 2 days ago, therefore, we launched a call to evidence for the government's review on safe technology, led by the well-respected child psychologist Tanya Byron. Helping families get the best from new technologies while protecting children from inappropriate or potentially harmful material is a crucial part of keeping pace with technological change. Parents are clear that they welcome the benefits of technology, but they also want their children to be safe. Of course they do. Many have said that they would welcome a sensible, informed perspective, whether their online content and video games that their children use are appropriate. And Tanya Byron's final report is due at the end of March next year. In the meantime, the review team would be delighted to receive your views and evidence. Technology is vital to the future of education. It helps teachers to plan better, parents to understand their child's learning, and schools to manage and administer better. The UK has the highest level of embedded technology in the whole of the European Union. It also ranks 4th highest in terms of numbers of computers per pupil, ahead of France and Germany, with almost 1 for every 3 pupils in secondary school. Nor are these just gathering dust. They are routinely and effectively used. 4 in 5 primary school teachers and over half of secondary school teachers use ICT for whole group activities in at least half of their lessons. And it's been achieved with unprecedented investment. Spending on ICT has risen 6-fold since 1998. We have invested over £5 billion in state-of-the-art technology for schools. And this week, I announced that we've ring-fenced £726 million for the Harnessing Technology Grant, on top of the billions given direct to head teachers to invest in their priorities and improve technology provision in schools. All the evidence confirms that where ICT is used effectively, lessons are better taught and students get better results. And teachers are becoming increasingly confident and competent in doing so. So nearly 6 in 10 primary school teachers and nearly 2/3 of secondary school teachers create their own digital resources, showing how they are manipulating and adapting technology so that it works for the unique needs of their pupils, reflecting the personalised approach to education, which is so critical to driving up standards and narrowing inequalities. But personalised learning is more than about changing classroom practice. It's about changing the way we think about and deliver education. So with increasing access to technology at home, not to mention through after-school clubs, extended school and services, youth clubs and children's centres, there are a whole new set of opportunities to enthuse and engage children in learning beyond the school gate. For young people, personalisation means being able to get access whenever and wherever it's important to do their learning. And that, of course, finally, is where handheld devices come in. I've seen it for myself at the Wolverhampton Learning to Go project, designed to give students access to anywhere, anytime learning. With Microsoft and Toshiba as partners, they've been able to give pocket PCs running Windows software to classes in 4 of its schools. and participating schools were delighted with the results of the experiment. They found that students felt greater ownership of their own education and were more willing to learn, while parents took a more active role in their child's learning. And I was especially impressed by seeing a child on the autism spectrum who's having to be completely reassessed by their educational psychologist after less than a year using this project, because he was able to make such significant progress thanks to the use of his device. For young people, personalization means being able to get access. Oh, I said that. This is technology at its best, closing the achievement gap and helping to engage parents and equip young people with the skills that employers are demanding. These kind of technologies also help to bridge the gap between home and school in ways which have numerous proven benefits. Greater resources at home means more opportunities to consolidate learning, to revise and to improve presentation. Students are more motivated so they can use technologies that are relevant to their everyday lives. And of course, it gives them extra practice in invaluable ICT skills which they will use in school and beyond. In some cases, they demonstrate abilities far beyond what might be expected for their age group, and evidence indicates that online literacy is developed more through internet use at home than it is at school. And this all results in greater achievement. A study showed that high levels of ICT use was associated with improved attainment in a variety of subjects, a difference up to half a grade at GCSE level. Now, of course, there's a real danger that those who would most benefit from those new opportunities and resources are the very ones who might miss out. Indeed, there are up to 1 million pupils who don't have access to such resources. And that's why we've set up Computers for Pupils, funded by government and led by Bector. This is a 2-year, £60 million programme which will provide home ICT access with a connection to the most disadvantaged secondary pupils in the 10% most deprived areas. Around 1,000 schools have been targeted. And Knowsley is the first local authority to begin putting these ambitions into practice. In Knowsley, 300 secondary school students were given laptops on loan in July, and a further 300 will receive them in this month. They have high hopes for the results that this will have. Councillor Graham Wright, Knowsley Council's Cabinet Member for Children's Services, said putting computers into the home and using ICT in all aspects of learning can really help pupils' education and attainment. And moreover, Computers for Pupils will improve the ICT skills not just of the pupils receiving it, but also their immediate families too. But Computers for Pupils is just the start of our ambitions. It's a targeted programme to benefit those most in need, but we want every pupil to share in these opportunities, with every family having access to the internet at home. And so the Home Access Task Force, which we set up last January with partners from across government, industry and the voluntary sector, is helping us work out the most effective way of realising this ambition. We'll be updating everyone on progress and future plans at the start of the new year, I guess probably around the Bet Fair, but there is no doubt that we're making real progress in this area. I'd like to finish by showing you this progress in action and want to introduce a video clip, and I hope that Doug's claims to my technological competence don't fall flat at this point, and without even using a device, apparently, it's going to start. Thank you very much.
I use my PDA at home and school. I found out quite a lot of stuff at home, mostly. I never get bored of my PDA because there's always new stuff that you find out whenever you do something.
Harley, Casey, can you come in and do some homework, please?
I don't really get to talk to my school when I'm out travelling. I like the laptop because when you're like far away from your friends or your school or something, you can always email them so you can still keep in touch.
Right, this is an iPod, and what I'm about to do is record some of the voices onto the class, alien voices, you know, which I'm going to record onto this iPod. Then I'm going to download that onto one of the computers over there.
Hello, my name is Katie.
Can you tell me where the canned food is, please?
Cat food.
They were like asking me loads of questions of things that you can do and that, because they like seemed really interested in it.
My brother, when I got home, he kept on all night was asking me if he can go on it.
Okay guys, what are you doing now then? What is the GPS tracking where you are then, Luke?
Yeah, because it says that in there, that little circle in the middle shows exactly where we are.
As we've just been walking, we've just saw 2 male and female swans and ugly ducklings. Well, I shouldn't call them ugly ducklings, but them ducklings that haven't laid their white feathers yet.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm struck with all of that. Yeah, there's so many things you can do, and you know, I get a bit bedazzled by devices, I have to confess, and keep chasing after the next one, because they all, you know, it's got to have GPS now, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But it really is just it's the imagination that goes into how you use it. It's not really the device. It's teachers. It's you guys. Just getting it and learning to let go to some extent, to liberate the young people themselves to be able to use it to the extent of their imagination, which really excites me. Doug.
Well, I'm pleased to say that the technology is still working, so I am getting 1 or 2 questions in.
Excellent.
There's a few questions coming in around your comments on real-time reporting to parents. Could you say a little bit more about that? And perhaps also just, is it only about reporting, or is it further than that?
Well, obviously we've got to do this in stages. We can't just, you know, I can't click my fingers and in the same way that a video might start. Suddenly every school's got the capacity to be able to do this. And equally, I don't want to do anything that just allows those that are articulate and connected to be able to then make another leap forward and leave behind another set of parents and their children who haven't got the technology and aren't ready for this. But what I want to achieve is the ability of, ultimately, of parents to be able to have a secure login to the school's intranet, I guess, but to be able to then get the information that is stored in the school's information management system about their child, around, you know, have they turned up? You know, I'd like to get to the point whereby instead of teachers recording things in mark books, they're recording things in a way that goes through to the information management system, so we know how they did in their test. They know, you know, just the ongoing assessment that just normally takes place in the classroom. What homework's been said. I know, looking at, for example, the work at Shirelands, that they told me a story of a parent who was clearly doing the wrong thing and taking their child out of school for a couple of months to go away, but doing the right thing and asking the school about how their child would keep up, and that they were able to access from India every day the school's intranet to be able to access homework and do their homework, send it back, have it marked the next day. The ability to go down that road I think is hugely exciting, so that we can start off by improving the level of information that parents have, because particularly in secondary school, where you've moved on from a single classroom teacher to a whole range of teachers, it's much more difficult for parents to really understand what's going on, and simultaneously their child has turned into an adolescent who sort of grunts about their day at school rather than imparting any information at all. So to be able to improve that level of information, but then take the relationship on, would be the next stage, but it has to be done in a way that's manageable. And
I have a final sort of question really around my earlier comment about the need for people to understand this digital native, digital immigrant, and be able to get it in that way. And if I'm right, and you do, and others don't, what are you going to do about it in terms of persuading the others, whether that's your colleagues or others who perhaps don't quite really fully go with where technology is moving?
I mean, it's just an ongoing process of showing people. I mean, in many ways, talking about it doesn't really do it, but people, the penny drops when people see, particularly when they see young people doing it, actually. You know, I've seen, just over the last few months, we've seen the explosion of interest in Facebook. You know, I've got so many of my parliamentary colleagues are suddenly my friends, virtually as well as otherwise. You know, if we'd have been in the middle of a general election campaign at the moment, not only would I not have been here, but I think we'd have been involved in the first sort of Web 2.0 general election. So my colleagues are starting to get it. We have a Secretary of State now who I sat in a very long meeting with him yesterday. Both of us were both paying 100% attention to what was going on in the meeting, but also looking at emails and texts that were coming in on our handheld devices. So generationally, there's also something starting to happen. And I don't think we can claim to be the digital natives that the generation of parents who I think will start to come through in about 5 years' time will be. And that's another reason for wanting to do real-time reporting and to have schools have the capacity to be able to use technology fully to inform their relationship with parents, is that the generation of parents just in a few years' time will be native to this. They will expect it.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Knight.